live.
You can do it and then I can come around. I shouldn't be on this side.
Okay, I think we are live. If anybody shows up and can hear me and can see me, could you just put something in the chat so that way I know y'all can see me and I'm coming through okay. This is my first time ever doing a live, so it's going to be interesting. I hope I don't talk for an hour and then realize nothing's there. Okay, I see somebody's on. Rosara on the beach. Hi. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I hope this is working. Hey, Melanie. Hello from Canada. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Oh, awesome. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, fantastic. So I don't want to make everybody wait a long time. Thanks, Dory. Thank you. I got a lot of questions from asking from YouTube, and I got a couple of questions from Instagram. And I was going to start with the hubby question. There's one question that somebody had about from my husband's point of view about VSG, but I'm going to wait until he comes in here. Okay, Schwig, Alexandria, DD. Okay, honey, come if you want to. He's going to do the question, this kind of spouse question first, and then he'll be dismissed. And come on. He is camera shy. Camera shy. He is not like me. We are like the yin and yang. So, okay, so let me just do that one first, and we'll get that out of the way. So, Sleeve and Serenity asks, how did you and your hubby pull through the shaky times you guys had? I've seen many marriages fail after WLS, and I was watching your story unfold. I remember you sharing that you guys were struggling, but got through it and seemed great now. How did you do it? What advice would you give to those of us about marriage and WLS? What advice would John give give husbands or partners? Thanks. So we did go through a shaky time, and it wasn't right after WLS. It was probably, I think it was after 2 years. So like maybe in year 3 that I kind of like
when you had your
after my tummy tuck. Yeah, after I had my tummy tuck. I kind of like got maybe too big for my britches and just questioning everything about my life, and kind of went a little nutso. And I call it like a teenage stage where I was like rebellious, and I don't know, I just was not myself really. And so John very graciously put up with it. Maybe not always graciously. No. We had our moments. We had our not so great moments, but he stuck by me and put up with it, and you stayed strong for us. And I think a part of our big problem was communication. After I had VSG, I think I talked about it a lot. Like, obviously I talk about all this stuff a lot. And I kind of got to the point where I felt like I had this community of people who were super interested in what we were doing. We all were on the same page. And so I just kind of talked to them, and I stopped talking to him about how I was feeling and successes and that kind of thing. And then I got to a point where I felt like the community was a little bit more supportive than what he was, but it was really because I wasn't communicating anything. I wasn't communicating highs and lows, and then I was getting like resentful that he wasn't celebrating as hard as I wanted him to. And so looking back now, I think to get through that, I would have been more a better communicator. I wish I would have included him more. And
right.
And I think when I first started, like, I made my videos every week and you watch my videos, but then you kind of like,
well, backed off. Well, right. Before, when you started to get research into surgery,
you were probably more.
I was researching things too. I was looking up forums and stuff like that. But then as you got into it more and more with the videos, I kind of backed off a little bit and went, and started to do my own thing. And so probably that was my thing was that I didn't, I wasn't always watching videos and stuff. I was supportive, right.
And I was talking about things in my videos that I was like, well, I put that out there and I got it off my chest, but he didn't see it. So if there was something that may have triggered him to have a conversation with me about something that I said, it just didn't happen because you weren't watching, and then I wasn't telling you what I made a video about.
Right.
So,
well, too, you can post videos during the day. It's fine. I'm not allowed to have my phone at work, and so you can post something early in the morning, and then when I see it in the afternoon, and there's like 200 comments. No, that's an exaggeration, but I can't compete with that, and that was part of my problem. Was that whatever comment I gave, I said, you look great, I'm proud of you, or whatever. I can't compete with someone else, kind of because it's expected of me, but it doesn't carry the same weight as a comment from somebody else does.
Well, and like you said too, like when you get a bunch of likes on a picture or something, you're like, how can I compete with that? Like me just saying you look good. But it does mean, like, I think we went through one of the things we did when we had our really bad problems is that we decided if we're going to try and make this work, we need to be really open and communicate and ask each other. Like, because we're both very bad about if we get upset about something, holding it in and not saying anything. Like, that's fine. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And then, of course, everything erupts and then everything comes out in one big go. And we would have big blowout, like we'd have nothing and then blowout. And so we decided that it's not working for us, right? So we did, I think in the beginning it was like every week we would be like, was there anything this week that you were mad at me about? Did I do anything to upset you? Or what did you like about this week? Remember, like in those early, and then it probably got to be like every couple of weeks we would kind of, and now I think we got more into the routine of calling each other on stuff when it happens. Like if something aggravates us, like we'll be like more apt to say it now. Right. Like what is that supposed to mean? Like, but I mean, it really doesn't happen that much anymore. Cause I think because I kind of came to my senses and we got past it. And I think we've reconnected at it's different now. Right. Yeah. It's just, you know how they say, like, when you go through hard times, it makes you stronger. I think that's true for us, right? When you say, I think we're in a good place now. But that was not fun. It was probably a good year, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe even longer. That it was like a real struggle. So, but yeah. All right. Thank you, honey. You're released.
Thank you. Bye.
Can you close the door?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let me see. Some questions. I'm going to answer questions in the Q&A first, and then I'll pull from the other ones. And if we run long, I'm only going to do this for an hour. I have to go cook dinner after this. But if we run long, then I'll do it again next Sunday and finish up whatever we don't get to. So let's see. I did see a question. Elizabeth Martinez asked, how long was it until you returned to working out after your tummy tuck? It was probably about 5 or 6 weeks, and I could only do, I was walking. I was doing long walks actually within like 2 weeks, but just walking. But I didn't get back into like doing strength stuff until about 6 weeks, and I probably should have waited a bit longer. I probably should have waited till like 4 months. It was very tight. Even I didn't have muscle repair, but even with that, the incision was very tight. And as soon as I started working out, I had like a little pinhole opening. So probably should have waited maybe, I don't know, 3 months. It seems so hard, but that's probably the most appropriate. But walking, I think I walked a 5K at like 3 weeks. Like not fast, not like crazy killing it, but I was active. And I think it's really good for your circulation to get back moving again pretty quickly. Let's see. I can't wait. I can't wait. A VSG journey. So she asked me, how are my arms doing? They look great. They are doing good. I feel like the scars are still really red, and I've been putting a new scar therapy on it, and I do feel like they're lightening up a little bit. You can see where it's like turning white here. So I feel like they're getting better. This one is still, I can feel tightness sometimes in it when I'm sleeping at night, and like just like that, like the right arm, I don't really feel anything, but this left arm right in this area, the incision just feels tight, but it's getting better. So and I am thrilled with the way they came out. I mean, I don't love the red, but I know that's just a temporary thing, and it's eventually going to fade. Carmen Goss said, nice looking couple. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Mark Lopez, you're going to get blocked because you're an asshole. Okay. Let me see is there a way to block him right now? Sorry, he was just way too ugly. Okay. All right, now moving on. Okay, so yes, thank you, Kirk. John is the best guy ever. I said, do I meal prep? Yes and no. Not like religious, like every Sunday I have to do blah blah blah. But I do things when I grocery shop to meal prep. So like if I buy veggies, sometimes I'll come home and I'll chop them all up and have them bagged up so that way I can just quickly use them. Or if I buy like this week I found breakfast sausage on sale. So I bought a bunch of tubes of it and I fried it all up and I put it in baggies so that way we can use it for like egg scramble and stuff. So I do little things like that to meal prep. I do make big batches of like grilled food. Like I'll do like maybe a dozen to 16 burgers at a time so that the family can reheat them and eat them during the week. I'll make like a few pounds of sausage so they can reheat that during the week, especially for the nights that I work out because I'm really the only cook in the house. So, and they're happy to eat reheated food. So luckily they're pretty easy with that. Let's see. How many days a week do, how many days a week do you, exercise. Okay. So lately I've been trying to walk every day, which I don't know if it's not like really exercise, but it's like movement and getting my butt out of my chair at work. But for actually like going to the gym 3 or 4 days, I try and get at least 3 days. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. It just kind of depends on my schedule. 5 would be really pushing it because John and I we split our time going to the gym because we don't like leaving the kids home alone at all. So we take turns, and then sometimes John brings William with him to the gym. So we try and like alternate days, and he doesn't like going on Mondays. So I've started going on Mondays and that kind of thing. So yeah, like 3 days I think is a good thing, especially like if you're lifting weights. It's kind of good to take days in between because you're breaking down muscle and you need to repair. So you want to kind of give your body a little break. I really believe in rest days and not like going hard 7 days a week. Let's see. How do you stay motivated? I think I've actually thought about that a lot lately because I don't know like what is in me that gives me my drive, except that I like the way I feel, I like the way I look, and I don't want to lose that. And it just I'm proud of myself, and I don't want to lose that feeling. So I've come so far, and if you knew me before, I was like I could be really super lazy, and so I don't ever want to be that lazy person again. So that helps me stay motivated. And then feeling like helping others and talking to other people about it, it keeps my mind focused. And so that kind of keeps me motivated as well. So that's one of the main reasons why I stay so active in the community. I really want to help people, and it helps me as just as much as it helps other people, I think, because it keeps my head in the game. Let's see, Lydia. Hi, Tanya. I'm scheduled for a brachioplasty in 10 days. How long did it take for your arms to completely heal? Like to actually close, like the wounds to actually close up, it was faster than I thought it would be. I'd have to go back and look to see. It might be like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe less than that. But to the point where I felt comfortable and could move comfortably and get dressed and brush my hair and all that stuff comfortably, it was a full 6 weeks. My arms were uncomfortable for a full 6 weeks. I can remember at the end of the 6 weeks telling John, wow, that truly was a 6-week recovery. You know, you always hear from surgeries, oh, it's 6 weeks recovery, and, you know, you feel better within 3 weeks, but you kind of got to take it easy. It was a tougher recovery than I thought it was going to be. And it seems like it was tougher for me than other people. I know a lot of other people seem to not have as hard of a time with it, but for me, it was a tough recovery. Let's see. What is the total volume you drink on fasting days? It kind of depends. I go by thirst, but I drink anywhere from 3 to 5 16-ounce coffees, just depending on what I'm feeling like that day. And then anywhere from 32 to 64 ounces of water. I don't push water. I might drink a Powerade Zero, like a 12 or a 16-ounce Powerade Zero, if I'm going to the gym that day. Again, it just kind of depends on how I feel. Some days I do, some days I don't. So I don't know how much is all that. Somebody do the math. Oh, it's over 100 ounces, I'm sure, but it's not 100 ounces of water. It's probably 64 ounces max of water. I don't know, 48 ounces minimum of coffee, and then whatever for the Powerade. Let's see. Thanks for all the great tips and showing your meals on Instagram. You're welcome. That's been really helping me stay focused too. I didn't even know how to do Insta stories in February. And then Lindsay Fly was here at Mardi Gras time. And I said, can you show me how to do that? And so she showed me, and then it just like all exploded from there. But knowing that I'm going to be showing what I'm eating has definitely helped keep me focused on, making conscious decisions on what I'm eating. So I really enjoy that. I'm looking forward to continuing that through the 9-week challenge. How is your sleep? Do you feel you still have good restriction this far out? What is a normal portion size for you? That's from VSG Kathy Switched. I'll tell you, with doing the fasting, my restrictions has gotten tighter again. I could definitely eat a lot more than in the first year or two after surgery. I remember in the first month after surgery, first few months after surgery, just eating one egg was like, oh. And now, like for lunch, normally I eat 3 boiled eggs and a few pickles. So that shows you, like, if you tell a person with an average size stomach that you eat 3 boiled eggs and some pickles, they're like, that's nothing. But for us, 3 eggs sounds like a lot. And I'm full. I'm very full. But then it also depends on how I prepare the eggs. So if I'm doing scrambled eggs, I can only eat 2 scrambled eggs, and then I'm really full. And I usually eat it with like a couple of pieces of bacon. To me, that's what an average person would eat. After surgery, I couldn't have eaten that much. I could have eaten at 6 months, I might have been able to eat 1 scrambled egg and 1 piece of bacon. So I don't have as much restriction as I did in the first year or two. But I still have restriction. And it depends on what I eat. If I eat fish, I have a lot of restriction. If I eat pork ribs or pork chops, I have a lot of restriction. I could probably only eat a good 4 ounces, and then I'm done. But if I'm eating salad, I can eat a nice size bowl of salad. If I'm eating Brussels sprouts or green beans, any kind of like mushy vegetable, I can eat a substantial amount of that. So, and sometimes it just depends on the day. Sometimes I can eat a few bites and I'm like, oh, I know this is not going to go well. And sometimes I'm a bottomless pit and I can eat a lot. But with doing the fasting, I definitely have more restriction than I had before I was doing fasting, which I like, because then that gives me my tool back to really work with. Let's see. Not logging my food in my Fitness Pal. I'm going to make a whole separate video on that, but just to kind of give a little preview on that, I stopped logging my food about, 6 to 9 months ago, because to me, I get obsessive about it. And I think about it way too much. I budget it. There's so many reasons. There's a lot of reasons, but one of the big ones is I would give myself an allotted amount of calories, which one of the reasons I'm like, what should that allotted amount be? I don't believe in the macro calculators. I think every person's an individual, and it's hard to know exactly what your caloric intake should be. I don't believe that nutrition labels are correct. I don't think they're accurate at all. And so if you're putting that into my Fitness Pal, it's probably not calculating right. So how do you know what you're really taking in? And then if I had calories left over at the end of the day and I really wasn't hungry, it would get in my head and I would eat those calories, even though I was not hungry and I did not need those calories. So I've switched to intuitive eating, where I listen to my body and my hunger cues and my fullness cues, and trying not to eat when I'm not hungry, eat when I am hungry, and only make good nutritious choices. I'm trying to move away from processed foods. No protein bars and protein snacks, no protein shakes. Like, I eat real food. I like to chew. I like food. I like to eat real food. I like to cook. And all those processed things, protein bars and protein shakes, I think they're useful in the first 6 months after surgery. But once we get to where we can actually eat food, it's better to eat food and not have all that processed stuff. And I think there's no way for us to know how many calories we're actually burning every day. So how should we really know how many calories we're supposed to eat every day? I think if we listen to our bodies and eat whole foods and non-processed foods, that our bodies will govern how much we should be eating, and that will give us some hunger cues. And hunger feels different after surgery. It feels weak and empty, but I found that when I gave up sugar, a lot of those hunger cues went away, and when I have actual hunger, I know that feeling now. I have real hunger, and it's taken a long time for me to learn that feeling. But like I said, I'm gonna make a whole video on that because, yeah, I mean, I think tracking is really useful in the beginning when you just don't have any clue as to how much proteins in anything. But then once you learn your core foods, I think everybody has certain things that they eat over and over again, then you don't really necessarily need to track. As long as you're getting, 60 to 80 grams of protein a day, especially in the beginning, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Let's see. On keto, do you have difficulties with constipation? Is it something you have to be vigilant about preventing? Okay, so when I first started keto and I was just doing kind of like dirty keto and if it fits your macros and all that kind of thing, I was taking stool softener every day, sometimes taking Miralax. And then I discovered that you could, instead of taking Miralax, which can be quite expensive, if you just put a teaspoon of baking soda in your 16 ounces of water, it will get things moving along pretty naturally. I wouldn't do that every day. But if things aren't moving along, you could do that. Now with doing fasting and mostly carnivore, like very little vegetables, mostly just meat and fat, I haven't needed any stool softener, no help at all. Everything is moving along very well. Like I haven't had this good of gut reaction to anything in my adult life. Like I've always, probably since I've been an adult, had constipation issues, and since doing this, I have no constipation issues whatsoever. It's really interesting. I would have thought it would not have been like this. Everybody says you need more vegetables. When I'm learning about the carnivore diet is that not everybody reacts well to vegetables. So I've learned to really love some of the vegetables, but I'm trying to back off of it right now, just testing things on myself. And so, yeah, I'm not having any constipation issues at all. But I did just doing like dirty keto. Yeah. Let's see. Chella, Foodie Turned Sleevey asks, what's your second favorite kind of group exercise after step? Have you ever gotten into spinning? Okay. I've done spin a few times, and I have a really hard time. My butt and lady parts did not love spinning. It's really difficult, and it's definitely a good burn. And I have problems with it, though, because of my arthritis. My hip joints are really, really weak. And a lot of times in the class, you have to stand up and pedal. And I can't really balance myself because of my hips being weak. So I would love to be able to do that. And I just bought some padded underwear. It looks like, it's like you're wearing a diaper, but to wear when I'm riding my outside bike. And it really helps a lot with the butt being sore riding the bike. So, and having that now, I would probably try spinning again if I didn't have the joint issues that I have. But my second favorite class after step aerobics is my total sculpt class, which is a lot of like weightlifting. We do like a lot of arms, a lot of squats, lunges, a lot of ab work, like on the floor, anything like that does like strength training. Some of it's using weights and some of it's using body weight. And I really enjoy those. I come out feeling strong, and I didn't do this for a long time. And then a few months after I started, I could see a difference in my toning in my arms. That was even before my surgery. Like I have some before and afters from before I started the class to after. and after was before my arm surgery, and it was a huge difference. And that's really what triggered me to think, okay, I need to have the arm surgery, because as much work as I've done and as much changes as I've seen, it's not helping. Like, it was not helping all of this loose skin. In fact, it was getting worse. So, yeah, but that is definitely my second favorite class after STEP. Hey, Veronica. No, I don't think you missed too much, but I'm going to publish this afterwards. So if you missed anything, you can go back to the beginning another time. All right, Kirk, my stepbrother, my adopted brother. What has been your biggest epic fail in the kitchen? Like some keto recipes that sounded amazing but turned out to be gross AF. Okay, so one time I tried to make, not one time, multiple times I've tried to come up with a donut recipe, because obviously John loves donuts and the kids love donuts. And not that I love donuts, but I'll eat a donut. I like a donut. I have not found a good donut recipe. I have had some pathetic looking donuts. I've made John and the kids eat things and it's like straight into the trash. I think I've probably tried 3 or 4 different donut recipes and none of them have come out good. And some of them are like custard, and then some were like just dry as a bone, like choke you. So yeah. What's your favorite go-to high fat meat? I like the Boston butt pork roast that I do, where it has that fat layer, and then I take the fat off after it's done cooking in the crock pot. I had that Boston butt video where I showed how I did it, but then I put salt and seasoning on that fat layer, and then I toast that in the oven. I mean, you can only eat a few bites of it because it's really rich, but that pork fat that's really good. That's pretty delicious. Even my mom, who is super skinny, I sent some to her when I made it the first time, and she was like, "Oh Lord, what was that?" So yeah, it's pretty delicious. Let's see. Kim Amended. I'm in my 3rd week post-op VSG. Would you recommend starting keto as soon as solid foods are allowed or later? I would recommend starting keto before surgery. If I would have known then what I know now, I think it would have been a great pre-op diet, better than like 2 protein shakes and a lean and green, which was basically keto. Here's my thing with keto. So keto, people do keto so many different ways, and it's like, oh, you got to have your fats a certain level. For me personally, I say if my carbs are under 20 and I'm in ketosis, I'm keto. Like if I'm in ketosis, I'm keto. Like no matter what level my fats are. So, I do think in the beginning, like in the first 6 months post-op, the most important thing is to get your water in, so you stay hydrated, because hydration is number 1 importance. Then getting your protein in. You're probably not going to be able to eat a lot of meat. You're going to have protein shakes. But if you keep your protein shakes to the really low carb ones, once you get past that phase and you can start really actually eating food, then yeah, you could definitely do keto. I mean, and some people are really sensitive to the fat. Some people need higher fat. Some people need lower fat. I think I'm one of the people who needs a bit higher fat, but then I think I naturally cycle it, and I listen to my body, and sometimes my body wants more fat and sometimes it wants less. And I think that helps burn when you eat a little bit less, but on a cycle, it helps burn more body fat, because your body's used to burning fat just in general. And if it doesn't have it from external source, it taps into your internal source. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going keto as soon as you possibly can. And I'd recommend phasing off of protein shakes as soon as you can and getting on real food, even if it's just mushies. Let's see. Nancy Jackson. Hey, Nancy. In your last video, did you mean, the Keto Connect cookie dough recipe? Yes. The Keto Connect. If you don't not subscribe to their channel, go subscribe, because they have amazing content. They put a lot of work into their channel, and I'll try and put their link to their channel in the description. I'll try and remember to do that. But they had this cookie dough recipe, but I've modified it, as I do with almost every recipe I do. And I changed their sweetener from just plain erythritol to Sucrin Gold, which I can only find on Amazon. It is a brown sugar alternative. It's erythritol with, I don't know, something that makes it just like brown sugar, and it is amazing, and amazing to the point where even John and the kids love it. So Yeah, we have been eating that a lot. I made another batch last night. I should put a link to that recipe in my description too. I will try to remember to do that. Let's see. Okay, Jenny Lamberto. I am so happy with my restriction after I fast. It just helps me make me aware of how full I am. Fasting is the greatest thing that ever happened to my eating. I have to say, I'm pretty happy with fasting. I obviously you've seen me. I've tried different things, and this alternate day fasting has really helped me get in touch with my hunger cues and the lack of hunger cues or the real hunger cues. It's definitely gotten my blood sugar completely under control and nice and lowered, which that is another thing that would maybe spike hunger cues. And it's definitely given me my restriction back with my tool. I have to agree completely. Okay, DK, I'm glad you said about macros because it's been dropping me nuts trying to figure it all out. It is maddening. It can totally be maddening trying to figure out macros with keto, and some people like to think that they have it all figured out and what they do will work for everybody, but that's not true. Like, everybody is an individual, and I find men need more protein than women, but I also find that it comes in cycles. Sometimes my body is craving protein and I'll eat a lot of meat in one day. And another time I'll eat almost no meat in a day and I'm just having vegetables and cooked in bacon fat or something, and so it's definitely got me in, like, letting go of the whole macro thing. I mean, it's probably good in the beginning just to kind of get your mind wrapped around what are good food choices and what are not good food choices in terms of high carb, low carb. But letting go of the whole macro thing and just making good food choices under the list of these are the things you can eat that are low carb, then it's like released my mind from stressing about all that stuff. And then eating when I'm not hungry and eating things that I don't need to eat, like eating extra fat when I don't need to, which makes you not lose your own body fat. Let's see. Yeah, trying to figure out the ratios is a pain. Yeah, and a lot of it is just trial and error. You have to see for yourself, and it takes weeks or months to say oh, I tried high fat and I'm not losing any weight, or I tried high protein and I'm not losing any weight. You got to figure it out. Pamela's journey. Hey, Pam, miss you. Not sure if you already talked about this, but do you take vitamins and mineral supplements since your diet seems to be mostly protein? If so, what supplements do you take? Well, I will say this. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and there's a lot of vitamins in meat, especially red meat. So there's a lot of people that say you don't need to take any vitamins even if you're just eating meat and no vegetables. I don't know that to be a fact, and I can't say that that's been fully researched and tested. But there are a lot of vitamins in red meat. That being said, I do still take a multivitamin every day. I take a Super B complex, something that they told us to take right after, starting with VSG, and I've just never let it go. My levels are always good. They're not too high for my Bs, so I just have continued to do that. I take a vitamin D because I tested low early on, and I take, I don't know, I want to say it's like 5,000 units, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but and I'm always just in the level, just okay. And so I plan on continuing to take my vitamin D. I do a couple of times a week take a C and an iron because my iron is always borderline low. It's been borderline low since surgery. So I take a slow release iron. I probably should take it almost every day, but I forget about it because you can't take it with any kind of calcium or anything. So I try and take that midday. So maybe 3 or 4 days a week, I get my iron and my vitamin C in. And I'm trying to think if I take a fish oil. I don't know if that's totally necessary with the amount of good fats that I eat now. It probably isn't, but I'm going to finish out the bottle that I have now. But yeah, still, I think my two most important are my multivitamin and my Super B complex, and then D, and then iron. Let's see. Elizabeth Martinez, have you developed any food allergies losing weight? My body can't take certain foods since losing weight. No food allergies, and I had food aversions shortly after VSG, and now I could eat anything. Some things don't sit well in my sleeve. White chicken, I mean, everybody kind of says that, and I really have not grown out of that. I have a hard time with like chicken breast. Ice cream. So like I made this keto, the cookie dough ice cream, and it's really delicious. But I ate some last night. I mean, and not much. And I got the foamies from it. I got the slimies. I didn't throw up, but like I spit a lot. Something about the texture, that creaminess, it coats my sleeve, and it's like I can't burp. And ice cream does not sit well. It's a real bummer because I mean that ice cream recipe is freaking delicious. But I think I'm gonna have to limit it to like maybe 2 bites, and yeah, bummer. Let's see. Oh, Northern Southern is here. Hey. Let's see. On my way down VSG. Thank you for introducing me to fasting and Dr. Fung. Oh, I love Dr. Fung. He's amazing. You've changed my life as I strive to achieve a BMI of 24 to be my son's liver donor. Oh, wow. How do you manage your children's diet? I have 6, 4, and 2-year-old. Wow, that's amazing. That's motivation. That's how you find your motivation. That's wow. My children's diet. Oh, that's a whole other thing. I'll tell you right now, I have not mastered that. I don't know. My kids hear me talk about nutrition every day. They totally get exactly what I do. I don't force it on them, but I cook what I cook and they eat what I cook. They do still eat carbs, but I don't bring a lot of stuff into my house. And you can ask Kirk while he was here the last time, he was like, or the second to last time, he's like, you don't have any junk food in here. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I don't. Like, and it's not that it's forbidden, but I'm the grocery shopper and I'm not going to buy it. And if we're out somewhere, like if we go out to eat somewhere, they'll probably get French fries with whatever they have. They'll get a burger and they'll eat the bread. Weight is an issue. Weight is an issue with them too. And I don't know. It's difficult. I struggle with it because I don't want to force them to eat a certain way to keep their weight down. And then they rebel and, go completely against it when they leave me. But then I don't want to just let them have whatever they want now and have a weight problem and have to deal with all the things that I had to deal with as a heavy teenager and, 20 something. So, I don't know. If somebody can figure that out, let me know, because to me, it's like a daily struggle. And John and I talk about it all the time. Like, is it okay to let them have that? Well, they can have it now, but they can't have this. And they understand sometimes foods and everyday foods. They know what they could have every day, and I'm never going to question it. And they know what I think they should only have once a week. Am I screwing them up? Probably. I don't know. Part of me thinks I'm screwing them up, and part of me thinks I'm giving them a good foundation. So it's probably a little bit of both. But I don't have it figured out. But I'm super excited that you found the fasting and that it's helping you get to the BMI that you need, because that's amazing. That's a wonderful thing you're doing. Let's see. Oops. Let's see. Inderia VSG. Hi, I was wondering if you had your blood work done since being on the keto diet. I'm wondering because since there are so many fats, I'm curious about cholesterol and diabetes. Okay, so keto is the thing that keto and fasting will completely reverse and cure diabetes. I have had my blood work done. It's very good. There's a whole thing. You can look up the cholesterol myth. Cholesterol is not bad for you. You need cholesterol. Your brain needs cholesterol. The thing that can be bad for you are triglycerides. My triglycerides are very low. When I had them tested last time, I believe they were 40 or 42. My triglycerides are fantastic. My cholesterol, I want to say, was like 189. I could be wrong, but it was like, I think it was just under 200. The time before that was just over 200. But my doctor was convinced, because he knew I've been doing keto for a year, because I had just started when I went and had my blood work done. I started in August of 16. I had blood work done in like October, November of 17. No, October or November of 16, and then again in 17. And when he knew I've been doing it for a year, he's like, we'll probably have to put you on statins. And I was like, I can tell you right now, I won't be going on statins because that's a whole, look up the statin. Like, that's a whole other like poison to put in your body. I will never go on statins no matter what my cholesterol gets to. But he had to like take back everything he said when he saw my blood work, because all my ratios were perfect. My blood work was perfect. So, but yeah, if you follow Dr. Fung, he doesn't necessarily push the keto diet because he knows not everybody can figure it out and do it, but he pushes the fasting. But if you do keto and fasting together, you have diabetes, within several weeks, you will probably cure your diabetes. Certainly within 6 weeks to 3 months, your diabetes will be cured if you stick to it. It's diabetes is curable. You do not have to have diabetes. It's not a chronic illness. Let's see. Okay, Northern Southern. I've been doing keto for a long time. What are your top 3 fats that aren't meat? Mine are coconut oil, heavy cream, and avocado. I didn't know you've been doing keto for a long time. That's awesome. My top, definitely heavy cream. I have heavy cream every day. It starts my day with my coffee. So definitely heavy cream. Kerrygold butter. I do a lot of cooking with that. And bacon fat. Oh, yes, not meat. Oh, okay. I do a lot of cooking with bacon fat. Let me think. Not meat. I do use coconut oil sometimes, but it's olive oil. I do eat a lot of olives. Yeah. So I'll say my third one would be olives. I get a lot of fat from olives. I love olives, especially I found these grilled olives. I took a picture at the grocery store this weekend because they are fantastic. It's grilled olives and they're soaked in olive oil. And then I'm saving the olive oil and putting it on a salad after I finish the olives. It's really, really delicious. Okay, Mar 1957100. Do you use a blood ketone meter? And if so, which one do you use? Do you recommend, and is it expensive to use? Thanks. I do use a blood ketone meter. I don't think it's totally necessary, but I'm an accountant. I'm a numbers person. I like to see the numbers. And then with all the experimenting that I do on myself, I kind of like to check myself. The meter itself is the precision meter. I found it on Amazon. It was about $100 for the actual kit, and it came with, I want to say, like 10 little strips. The strips I can find on eBay is usually the cheapest. Sometimes on Amazon, it just depends. For around just over $1 per strip. Sometimes they're way more expensive and I just don't buy them. I don't test every day. I'll test when I'm doing experiments every day. But now lately with doing the fasting, I know if you are eating less than 20 carbs, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. And certainly if you're fasting, you're going to be in ketosis. So you don't need to test. It doesn't matter. And as long as you're over 0.5 of having the ketone reading, you're in ketosis. And the readings fluctuate and go up and down. It can vary. For the blood meter, it can vary based on your activity. Based on how long you've been in ketosis. Sometimes once you've been in ketosis for a long time, your body really can efficiently use the ketones. So your number may be a little bit on the lower side because your body's efficiently using ketones for the energy. So I just do it because I like numbers and graphs and comparing those kind of things, but you don't need it, but I do use it. So, but it can get kind of pricey. Let's see. Nancy Jackson, she said, I'm older and I find I need more fat and less protein. As you said, stay under 20 carbs and the rest works itself out. Exactly. I find, especially women who have like hormone fluctuations, like I've had hormone fluctuations a lot since VSG. Those people need more fat to get the hormones right. Oh, Mama Rose, she said, Eric has done amazing. He has done amazing. I mean, that's definitely a testimony. Didn't he get off of a lot of his medicines recently due to doing keto? I believe I remember seeing you a post about that. So, and I know he's lost a lot of weight too. Let's see, Rosara. I love how I felt in keto. I've been following a few people who do keto. While doing keto, I can say my hypoglycemia was well under control. Yeah, after VSG at about 6 months, I started having hypoglycemia attacks, and I never had that before ever. And I had them a lot early on, and then it was like really periodically I would have it. But since being on keto, I haven't had the low blood sugar attacks, except when I very first started fasting and I tried to do an extended fast, I did get the drop in the blood sugar. But I always say the keto, it's the practice of fasting. And so it takes practice. So you have to ease into it. I know a lot of people can jump into it and just do long fast or off the bat. I couldn't do that. I had to train my body a little bit longer. And, but since I've got my body trained for it, I have no blood sugar fluctuations like that anymore. Let's see. KMP coupons. Do you count calories? If so, how many a day do you eat? I don't count calories. It kind of goes back to like not tracking my food. I don't count. I honestly have no idea how many calories I'm getting right now. I tried it. I had a whole time in my head when I would add things up in my head, even though I wasn't writing it down. I was so ingrained in tracking my food that I could do it all in my head, and I would know, and I would drive myself crazy all throughout the day. Like I had this, I had that, and that adds up to this. And so I try not to do that anymore. I try not to obsess about the number of calories. If I had a guess on an eating day, I try to keep my calories up on an eating day because when you're fasting and you don't eat, that drives up your metabolism. It speeds up your metabolism. But if you don't eat those normal calories on an eating day, that will lower your metabolism, and I don't want that. So I'm guessing around 1,500 calories maybe on an eating day, but honestly, I couldn't tell you that for sure. Let's see. Mama Rose said, I've been doing low carb under 20 for years. Blood work is excellent. Exactly. It's the whole fat does not make you fat. Fat does not put cholesterol in your blood. Fat actually is very good for us. We've been fed a lie. John and I just finished reading a book by Gary Taubes. It's a sugar. I can't think of the name of it. I'll get him to tell me it. But how where we went so far off the rails, and ever since they said eat lower fat, low fat, and then we added all the sugar in, that's when we went to having the diabetes and heart disease and obesity epidemic. Yeah. Spiffy Keen, how long does it take before keto breath goes away? I'm still waiting for that to go away. It's probably why I started chewing a lot of gum, because I find especially like I get dry mouth when I sleep at night. That's why I started doing the mouth taping. I'll show you. I use these. Is it kind of focus? Yeah, Somnifix mouth taping, because I breathe through my mouth a lot. So between breathing through my mouth and keto breath, it's like horrible in the morning. So I still feel like I get keto breath. So I don't know if it ever goes away. I mean, some people say it does after a few months, but that hasn't been my experience. But I chew some gum, yeah, to try and combat that. That is not a good side effect. DK, I'm loving this. Thank you. Thank you for doing a live chat. Oh, you're welcome. This is fun. I'm having a great time doing this. Let me see. Okay, so I think I'm caught up on the chat and questions in the chat. I'm gonna see if what questions I had. I know we covered a lot of things that I got in like the YouTube questions. Let me see if this thing's okay. So less of me at VSG asks, how have you made your connection so strong in the WLS community? Meetups, YouTube. Have you been to WLSFA? So the way I make connections, and I'll tell a lot of people, is because people ask me about how do you get support. And when I first started, it was all about YouTube. I wasn't on Facebook. I didn't get on Facebook until I was getting ready to go to my first WLSFA, and I was over 6 months out from surgery. But I commented a lot on YouTube videos. I gave a lot of support. If you want to get support, you got to give support. And I answered a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions. I gave encouragement and compliments. And those are the kind of things, when you start talking to people, people start talking back. And that's how the support happens. And that's how the connections happen. And you'll find people that you just click with and you connect with. And before I went to my first WSFA, I connected with some girls. Pamela is one of them. Before going, and like, oh, I'm gonna be there. Like, I was going. The first time I went with my mom. It was in Vegas back then. I think it was the second one. It was in 2012. And then the second one I went by myself because I had my core girls that I was friends with, and but yeah, and then I was the kind of person that I didn't just stay with my class of people. Like I say, class, like the people who had surgery at the same time as me. I still continue to see new people having surgery and try and comment and encourage on the ones that I see. And but if you want to make good connections, you have to put yourself out there. You have to reach out to people and encourage them, and they will encourage you. Kirk said I forced her to be my friend. You kind of latched on to me in Tampa. I'm teasing. It was fun. Kirk always likes to say he was a fangirl, but I love Kirk. I loved Kirk way before that. So let's see. But yeah, I've been to every WSFA since then. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm not going this year because normally WSFA was in May. And so we scheduled a friend's vacation at the beginning of June. And then right after, like almost immediately after we scheduled that, it was announced that WSFA was the same time as that friend's vacation that we have scheduled. So this will be the first time I missed since 2012. So it's a little bit sad that I'm kind of breaking that streak I had going. Let's see, macros. I'm just looking at my questions to see what kind of exercise do you do and how many reps? What's your favorite keto recipe? So my favorite exercise is obviously step aerobics. I do it all the time. I would post more videos, but I feel like people probably don't want to see that. I do a few little snippets on Instagram, and but I love step. I do the body sculpt class, and the reps just depends on the instructor. We usually do, in the class that I take on a regular basis, we do 3 sets of 10 of whatever we're doing. If it's shoulder presses, whatever. So 3 sets of 10 is usually what we stick with, and that goes for an hour. My favorite keto recipe, it's so hard because I love cooking, but I'll split it into 2 categories. For meat is chicken thighs, the pork rind and Parmesan and almond flour coated chicken thighs, like oven fried chicken. To me, it tastes just as good as real fried chicken. Definitely satisfies the fried chicken desire. Super delicious. The fat from the chicken thighs is very filling. Sometimes I can't even eat a whole chicken thigh. For vegetables, it has to be my bacon Brussels sprouts. But really any vegetable cooked in bacon, like I like my green beans and my cabbage. But probably the Brussels sprouts. And I have recipes for both of those on my YouTube channel because those are definitely my favorites. And now the cookie dough is my favorite dessert. Second to dessert to that is a cheesecake recipe that I came up with. I kind of developed that around the holidays. That's really good. And then I also have the spiced pecans the recipe that I did a lot during the holidays, but I had to stop making them because I was gaining weight from eating too many pecans. It was like I was out of control with it because it was super delicious. So it's almost like a trigger food for me. But I probably will make them again at holidays again. Let's see. Dina, getting fit. Should someone like me that's barely getting started eating keto 5 weeks post-op-VSG worry about macros? No, you can't eat it. You really can't eat enough. As long as you're keeping your carbs less than 20, I would not worry about macros. Just worry about water and worry about protein and keeping the carbs under 20. Everything else will shake itself out. Can you talk about your mind fuck you went through after VSG 1 year post-op? It was definitely further than 1 year post-op. It was over 2 years post-op for me. Most people it is sooner, but I guess I'm a late bloomer. I did talk about it a bit at the beginning of the video, so I think I covered that. Let's see. I only got 5 minutes. Jeez, this hour has flown by. Oh my goodness. How long were you out of work after your tummy tuck? I think I was out for 2 weeks, but I probably should have been 3. I'm bad about pushing myself to go back too soon. But I also have a desk job, so it's not that big a deal. If I would have been up doing things that were more physical, definitely would take 3, if not even 4, to give you time, to really heal. The anesthesia was really hard on me, and I had a lot of trouble with exhaustion and just wanting to sleep a lot. So more than the pain, my tummy tuck was uncomfortable, but not terribly and not painful to me at all. My revision for the tummy tuck was a bit more painful because I think I was tighter. But yeah, I probably should have taken 3 to 4 weeks off. Let's see. 2, you mentioned in your last video that you gained weight from keto. Is that right? How did that happen? If you eat, keto is not a miracle. And if you eat too much and too often, I think my thing was too often, snacking, eating a lot of pork rinds, eating a lot of nuts. Peanuts will shut my weight loss down. They will make me gain weight. Peanuts and peanut butter, I've had to completely cut them out. Will I ever have them again? I'm sure I will. Yeah, I definitely will have them again. But if I'm trying to lose weight and maintain my low weight, I can't have peanuts. I eat too many of them. It goes down way too easy. And actually, peanuts really aren't supposed to be allowed on keto because peanuts are not nuts. They are legumes. They are not nuts. So, I was eating nuts, and yeah, you can gain weight eating pork rinds and peanuts and those snacky kind of things instead of actual real whole food meals. Yeah, I did gain, and I also gained over the holidays, even staying in ketosis because just having too many pecans, the spiced pecans. I ate too many. It's not all about calories in, calories out, but that does play a factor in weight loss and weight gain. So yeah. 3, is it too early to start keto being 6 weeks post-op? Okay, I did cover that. Yeah, so I would say you can start. Let's see. Let me go back to the chat, see if I'm missing anything. Yes, great for women with menopause. Yeah, it's definitely great for getting the hormones level. Yeah. Yeah, can't have peanuts in the house. They're a huge trigger. Yeah, exactly. I can have things in the house. I just have to put it in my head. And it's not for me. Those aren't my foods. Because John and William still eat peanuts, but I overeat peanuts. Yeah. So. Okay. I think. Okay, I'm running out of time. I got 3 minutes left. Let me see. I'm looking, going through my questions. Oh, Lynn Tho, love Finn. I love Finn. I love Lynn. Would love to know how much fat you put in your coffee on a fasting day. I usually put a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons in each 16-ounce coffee, and I have 3 to 5 coffees a day. So, anywhere from, what is that, minimum 3 tablespoons of coffee, of heavy cream, probably more than that. Probably closer to 6 would be my minimum, and maybe 8 to 10 max of cream in my coffee on a fat fasting day. Let's see. Oops. Oh, this was a great question. Lean Serenity asked, have you thought about how you're going to maintain after you stop the challenge, the 9-week challenge? I hadn't really thought about that. And I was really surprised at how well this challenge the fasting is working. It's working way better than I expected it to. And so a lot of people, from what the research I'm doing, to maintain, once they get to like their weight that they want to be to maintain, they'll do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, OMAD. But for us VSGers and weight loss surgery patients, I don't really think we can do 1 meal a day and get enough calories. Even as far out as I am, I don't think that will work for me. So I think instead of doing 3 days of alternating day fasting, maybe I'll switch to 2 days and just do Tuesday, Thursday, or maybe it'll just be 1 day a week. I'll do like a 36-hour fast. I honestly don't know. I'm going to have to just play with it and see what helps me maintain and achieve my fitness goals. I don't know. I really don't know. And Kirk had asked, what are your next steps or goals? My goal right now, obviously, is the 9-week challenge. I want to look fantastic for a beach vacation, but that's not like a real life goal, right? My real life goal right now is to get off my arthritis medicine. If I can get the fasting and the keto to work with to optimize my health, hopefully I can eventually get to a point where I inject Enbrel. And I'm tired of giving myself injections. I was doing it every week. I'm down to every other week right now. My next goal would be to get to like every 3rd week to do my injections and then eventually get off that medication completely. I would like to not put chemicals in my body. If I can control, if my food can control my health and improve that, that is my ultimate goal, is to get off that medication. But I think that's going to take time. And I think my body just needs to adapt to this, and I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to continue to do research on how to improve that. So that is my ultimate goal. Okay, guys, it is now 1 minute after 8. So I have got to go cook for the family before they burn the house down. Smoke me out of this room. So I did have a couple more questions. I'll just answer this really quick. Is broccoli okay on keto? Yes, broccoli is okay on keto. Any green vegetable is okay on keto. Don't be afraid of green vegetables unless you are sensitive to it. Like I'm learning that could possibly be a thing. I don't know enough about it to talk about it now, but if you are keto, you can have broccoli. Broccoli is great on keto. And yeah, okay. So I think I covered everything. But if we have more questions, post them down below. Maybe I'll do another one next week or a week after or sometime down the road, okay? But thank you, everybody, for joining. I seriously appreciate the participation and everybody like just taking time on their Sunday to come do this. Kirk said, I heard spending lots of time in a French Quarter with bearded men can help you get off your arthritis med. I'm down for that. I am totally down for that program. Sign me up. I'm hoping whiskey and diet is part of that program as well. But yeah, thanks for everybody for participating, and thanks for supporting me and commenting and just always showing me love. I really, truly appreciate it. Bye, guys. Happy Sunday. Go out and make it happen.